How to do at-home boudoir photography. Well, I obviously recommend hiring a professional to take boudoir photos. It can also just be a ton of fun to do them at home on your own if it's something that you want to make into an enjoyable experience. And I think that is the whole focus here. If you want to do at-home boudoir, focus less on producing magazine quality images and just have fun. And I'm going to give you my 3 biggest tips to make this a great experience while also still getting some pretty good pictures. And number 4, I think is the most important, so you do not want to miss that one.
It's showtime.
Hello, my name is Mike Lloyd. I am a professional boudoir photographer in Silicon Valley, California. I've been doing this for 12 years, and I guess you could say I've learned a thing or two about taking boudoir photos. So I want to help you take better photos at home because, again, while I totally believe that everyone should do this experience for themselves with a professional photographer, because it is an entirely different world when you're working with a pro, it can still be a ton of fun to do this at home, and I think everyone should do that as well. So here are my 3 biggest tips for taking at-home boudoir photos. Number 1, involve your partner. Number 2, the lighting. And number 3, getting the right angles. So let's talk about doing this with your partner. If you don't have a partner, totally fine. Maybe call one of your girlfriends up to come over and hang out and play for the day. This can be a totally fun thing that you can share with anybody. And it doesn't have to be a sexual experience, which I know most people think boudoir photos are that, but it's really not. It's about you owning your space, your strength, your confidence, your courage, your femininity, however you want to express yourself, and being vulnerable. That's what boudoir is all about. And you can share that with anyone that you trust. So doing this with a partner is an incredible experience because you can help each other pick out outfits. You can take turns being the photographer, giving guidance, having fun with it, trying different things. If they're into a certain sports team or an activity, I've photographed people wearing pilot uniforms and tool belts and sports jerseys and wetsuits and mermaid tails and hiking gear, backpacks and like school outfits, you name it. We've done it. And I think it's just a fun way to show up and play. It doesn't just have to be lingerie. So get creative and pick each other's outfits. Maybe you can go shopping together. Before you even bring out the camera, go have fun together. And, and if you're doing this, you can also go to the mall and get your makeup done. Go into the Mac store or Sephora, buy a product, and you can have them do your makeup while you're there. It can be a totally fun full day experience. And then since you're all made up, celebrate by going out and having dinner afterward. Make it a fun thing and hang out with somebody special. All right, number 2, let's start to get technical here. Let's talk lighting. Lighting is, it's the basis of photography. Photography literally means to write with light. But you don't need a bunch of fancy equipment to do it. Well, I may have $10,000 in equipment in my studio for a given photo shoot. You don't need that. If you want to get lights, you can go on Amazon or to your local camera shop and you can buy what are called constant lights. They're just powered by LEDs. They don't get hot. Do not get the floodlights from Home Depot. That is not going to be flattering. Also, they get really toasty. But these video lights I have right now, I think it was like $99 for the pair of them. And I think the light looks pretty darn good because if you rely on the lighting overhead, you're going to get raccoon eyes. When the light comes from above, you get shadows in your eyes. You'll get shadows all over the place where you don't want shadows. If you don't want to buy lights like this, totally fine. Windows are your best friend. Maybe you're like, I don't want to be in front of the big window in my underwear because my neighbors will see. I get that. If you have windows that aren't facing the neighbors where you're going to show them what you got. And again, I don't know, maybe you'll make new friends if that's how you do it. So windows are great because that's how all the classic paintings essentially were modeled. They had candlelight and they had windows. So all of the light you've seen in famous paintings comes from one of those 2 sources. Obviously, if it's an outdoor painting, that's a different scenario, but anything indoors is either lit by candle or by window. So you can check out how people are posed and where they're positioned near windows in these paintings, and you can emulate the same thing. The closer you are to the window, the softer the light, which means you won't have the dark shadows. The farther away you move from the window, the more shadows you're going to have. Shadows can be great if you know how to use them, but they can also highlight wrinkles and cellulite and all the different textures that you don't want to see. So moving up close to a big light source, like a big window, can be great for smoothing things out for you so you don't have to do any fancy Photoshop editing. Also, it gives you more room to work around. If you have a giant light source, like a big window, you can move in all these different poses and positions and you're gonna look great. If you have smaller light sources like a candle would be, or even just a small video light like what I have, it limits you as to what you can do without knowledge of posing and lighting. But again, this is about having fun. Get in there and play, and you don't need to produce magazine quality, technically perfect photography to still make this a pleasurable experience. And experiment. Maybe the photos don't work out in the bedroom because you don't have good window light in there. Go into the kitchen, go into the living room, go out to the garage, try it in the backyard, in the sun, in the shade. Play around with different things. The whole idea here is to play and have fun and see what works for you. All right, number 3, change your angle. When we take selfies, a majority of us hold the phone up and we take a picture like this. Because with a wide angle lens on our phone, the things that are closest to the camera appear the largest, and the things farther from the camera appear smallest. So when the camera is up here, your face is the largest, it'll look normal. Everything else shrinks in perspective as it gets farther away from the camera. That's how wide angle optics work. You can use that to your advantage. So change the angle. You don't have to just shoot from overhead to get flattering angles. When you shoot from overhead, that puts the camera, the viewer, in a position of power because you are looking down on the person you're viewing in the photo. When the camera is at eye level, you are on the same level as the viewer, and when you are holding the camera up, viewing somebody from below, that makes them appear to be a more powerful figure. That's why every superhero movie poster shows them perched up high on something and they're looking like this big, tall, epic figure because they're shot from below. If you photographed a superhero from overhead and made them look tiny, that would totally defeat the purpose of making them look like a superhero. I guess Ant-Man is the one exception. I've never seen that movie. Don't quote me on that. Also, you're like, okay, cool, but I'm doing this by myself. How am I supposed to change these different angles? You can buy a tripod. They're super cheap. Get them for like 20 or 30 bucks at Best Buy or Amazon. And you can hook your phone up to that, set the timer if you want, or you can use a remote. Some have remote controls you can use for your camera or your phone, depending on what you're using, which is what I would recommend as opposed to the timer. Because with the timer, you got to set the timer, run around, get into the pose, and then hope you got it. Whereas with a remote control, you can get into a pose and take 10 different variations of that same shot, and then one of those is bound to turn out. So I recommend using a remote if you can. But the tripod is great because you can set it up down low, you can set it up high, you can put it up on the counter, you can do overhead shots, you can put it down on the floor, angling up, and do all kinds of different views. But play around with the angle. Don't just hold it at eye level or hold it above you. Go directly overhead, go from the floor, try it all the way across the room, put it outside of a door so that you're peeking in through a doorway like you're viewing somebody in the room. You know, you could be in the room with your back to the door, the camera is outside in the hallway, and it looks like the viewer is observing you in the room. That could be a really sexy image to take. So there you go. Those are my 3 biggest tips to take great photos and have fun while you're doing it, because that is what the whole thing is. But you're like, hey, wait, there's more. I thought you said 4 things. The 4th was the most important. Glad you were paying attention. Number 4, do it again. Yep, that's it. Because you're going to do it and nothing ever works out the first time because none of us are ever experts at anything the first time. And you're going to learn and you're going to try new things and you're going to work on poses. When you go back to look at the photos, you're like, oh, these were all great, but why is my arm like that? Or why was I looking that way? Why was I making that face? And then next time you'll do a little bit differently, which is more fun because then you play and you adjust and you tweak things and you come up with new ideas and you're like, well, next time I'm going to eat a plate of strawberries and I'm going to have the camera down this way. Maybe if I turn the light this way, it'll look different next time. And you can constantly play and have more and more fun with it it never ends. So if you would like to actually step in front of my camera and be photographed by my kick-ass professional team, you can reach out through MikeLloydStudios.com. I would love to chat with you about that. And I have more great videos on this channel about photographing yourself, how to pick out outfits for your photo shoots, picking the right photographer if you don't want to come out to California. Tons of great info for you here. You are amazing. We'll see you inside.